Duty multiplayer was just revealed moments ago, but you've already been able to play it.
Yes.
First impressions, and for reference, you were not a big fan of Call of Duty Ghosts. You've given it a pretty low score in comparison to other Call of Duty games that we've reviewed in the past. What are you thinking?
So there's a lot to talk about. There's so much in Advanced Warfare multiplayer that I'm more excited about this game than I have been with Call of Duty in a while. I feel like with Ghosts, there was this, especially with Ghosts, it had kind of already started earlier, but there's this kind of like malaise that had set in. It's like, it's just kind of the same thing every year, but it seems like Sledgehammer Games really sat down and thought about for a long time, how can we make this better? How can we make this more interesting without necessarily screwing up, something that's worked so well for so many years? And I think that's what they did.
And now you said you were able to play like 4 different modes on 4 different maps. Is that the breadth of it, or is that just what you were able to
That's
capture?
just what I was able to play. And those maps were the only maps that they showed during the reveal event. I don't remember the name of each map.
Okay.
But and then there are going to be more modes than the modes that we played. But what they decided to do with the modes is there's a new mode called Uplink, which we can talk about in a little bit. And then there are 2 other ones where they're returning modes. So Hardpoint, which was introduced in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, was absent from Ghosts, and now it's back in Advanced Warfare. And then
so Capture
the Flag is the other
too,
one.
yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people were really upset that both those modes were absent in Ghosts, so it's nice that they were able to bring those back.
Cool. Now, what is Uplink like? What makes that different?
So Uplink is cool because what it is that you have like this cyber orb. There's not really a better way to describe it. And you have this thing that you need to pass through the orb somehow that's on the map. And you can either throw it through, which will get you 1 point, or you can boost through it. You can double jump through it, and it'll get you 2 points.
Huh.
And it's kind of a crazy mode, and I think
it sounds like basketball for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's kind of exactly what it is, because you can the thing that you have to get through this orb, you can throw to other teammates.
Okay.
And the people playing there, including myself, weren't good enough to really coordinate anything too fancy. But I can imagine when people get good at it, it could be a really fun mode, because with the new mobility that's in Call of Duty Ghosts, you could do some really crazy things where you're passing this thing across the map or throwing it away just before you get killed. It seems like a really fun, chaotic mode, and it was the most enjoyable mode that I played at the event.
And now you said was each mode on a specific map, and you only play that mode on that one map?
Correct. That's correct.
So what was that map like? How was that laid out?
So the map for Uplink was cool because it was basically, there were a bunch of circular shelters, tiny circular shelters, all up throughout the map. And kind of the way that you could play the map is you could either take the low ground or the high ground, where you're sort of jumping from the roof to roof of each of these shelters, or kind of going in and using those shelters for cover. And that was really cool because that map specifically took really good advantage of the new exosuit, which allows you to double jump, slide, dodge. And it's really neat because it allows you to be more evasive than I think you could previously be in Call of Duty. If you know that somebody's tailing you, you can just jump over a shelter and suddenly they can't see you anymore. You broke line of sight. And so it makes you think about Call of Duty in a different way. When suddenly you can jump on top of buildings, it's a different multiplayer. That's the other thing that I want to talk about is exo abilities. So in addition to this enhanced mobility, you can get specific things that give you additional utility during a match, right? So one of them is, and these are all coordinated with the left bumper.
Okay.
Like one, you can sprint really, really fast. And then another one, you can pull up a shield for a little brief period of time. Or another one, in addition to your double jump, you can hover in the air. Huh. And sort of the way that those are balanced is they all run on a battery, and you can use those abilities until the battery runs out.
Okay. And does it look like you have one ability at a time, or can you stack multiple?
You can only get one exo ability at a time.
Okay.
So.
And is that something that you would swap on a loadout? Like if you get killed, then you swap an exo ability as well as a gun or something?
So yeah, they're all tied to your loadouts. So if you have your 5 custom loadouts, you can put a different exo ability on each one. Those are really cool because unlike the riot shield in previous Call of Duties, since this shield can only be up for a limited amount of time, it really makes you think about when to use it, and it's super valuable if you have it. The hover, for example, really great, really useful. It's cool to just be able to shoot up into the air, stay there, and then just rain down fire on everybody.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to talk about is loadouts. So the Pick 10 system from Black Ops 2 is back, but this time it's Pick 13. And you're initially like, why do they do Pick 13? Whatever, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Score streaks are now included in the pick system. So if you don't want any score streaks, you don't have to have them.
Oh, okay.
And that's cool because it essentially, like, when I play Call of Duty, I do like decently. I get like UAVs and I get care packages, but I usually don't get 8 to 10 kills before dying. So this is nice. So I can only pick 2 score streaks right now, the ones that I use most often, and then I could ignore the later ones and use that to add more attachments to my gun or get an additional perk or something like that. So it's nice. I felt like I had more freedom with customizing my character than I ever have. They've added a lot more grenades as well. The one that I thought was most interesting was a sensor grenade, where if you shoot it, and an enemy gets caught in the blast, you can then see them through walls for a few seconds.
Oh, okay.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah. Now, one thing I noticed with, in the trailer is that he kind of like swapped through, or I guess it's a gameplay demo. He swapped through like on a single grenade. So how does that system kind of work? Were you able to do that?
When I was doing it, I was only able to pick 1 grenade. I'm not sure if there's an additional perk that lets you pick more, but that might just be a single player thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that is a single player thing. Yeah, what else? What else do you want to get to before we have to wrap up?
Man, the other thing that I think a lot of people will really appreciate. So when you're in between matches, normally you just pick your loadout or you can change your loadouts, and if you're trying something new for the first time, the only way you can do it is by practical experience, actually getting into the match and testing it out. Now there's a virtual firing range where as soon as you hit the button, you are in the firing range instantly. There's no loading, and you can just quickly try out how does this gun feel. Okay. It'll put you in sort of like a VR place, and you shoot these virtual targets, and that's amazing. So many times in my demo, I was like, I'm going to try out this gun, find out I don't like it. Yeah. Being able to switch it back to something that I knew I liked, that was interesting. One other somewhat minor thing that is kind of hilarious is you can now dual wield heavy weapons.
Okay.
And I was dual wielding, I don't remember exactly what they were called, but they looked like miniguns. And you're just walking around in this walking tank, and there's this new thing where you can plop down. You can go into this attack mode.
I feel like Ben Moore looking like a freaking Wolfenstein boss or something.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is. And you can't move, but you have a lot more accuracy. And I thought that was really interesting because it was super useful in Hardpoint, for example, where you have to defend a specific area. It was fun watching people flood into the room and just mowing them down with these giant miniguns.
Very cool. So you sound like you're pretty excited on this one, huh?
I am. I'm very excited about it. It's one of those things where I'm hesitant to say like, yes, this is it. They've finally progressed Call of Duty, because I need to spend more time with it. I need to see how all of these changes.
How long were you actually able to play? How long was the event?
So the event was for 3 or 4 hours, but I was only able to play for like an hour because there were so many people there. You had to wait a long time to actually get a station. I'm sorry, I just keep thinking of things. Another thing that's super interesting and completely new is supply drops.
Okay.
And what those are is...
How's that completely new?
Let me explain. So they trigger based on completing specific challenges, like weapon challenges or other challenges, or time that you've played. And it's like, you got a supply drop. And do you remember the Mass Effect multiplayer where you would get a pack and you would get things? It's kind of like that. So you open up the supply drop, and you have a random chance of getting different rarities of items. And one of the things that you can get is you get a free score streak. So the one that I got was like, in the next match, you will get a free, UAV 2 minutes in. And then the other thing is, you unlock basic weapons as you level up. So it's like, you got a new assault rifle at rank 20, like you always do. But now with supply drops, you get different versions of those same weapons. And there's different rarities of them. So it's like, okay, here's the same basic assault rifle, but this one fires faster at the cost of accuracy. So you get different flavors of weapons. And as a result, you have more choices with what you equip than ever before. And that's really interesting. It's like you're loot hunting in Call of Duty. So.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Glad you got to check it out.
Yeah.
There's a ton of gameplays and stuff going up right now along with this, so check it out. And yeah, maybe it's time to look into the Call of Duty again.
Yeah, they're playful with it, which I think is the right approach at this point.
Enemy flag acquired.